Welcome to Small Arms Solutions. Today we're looking at the Sig P320 XFP full size. Now, you've seen I've done several videos on the Sig P320 pistol, including the M17, M18. Over the last couple of years, it's taken me a while, but I've really gotten used to the Sig P320, and I have to say I've become a fan. Sig has done something that, for instance, Glock has not done. Sig has introduced multiple different types of pistols in this platform. It will take care of any number of issues. Everything from small compact P365 to the military M17, M18 to the model that we see here. We have subcompact, we have compact, we have full-size models. Of course, we have the interchangeable chassis on here, which enables you to change slides as well as frames. The modularity of the system has become extremely popular. The aftermarket support is even better. In fact, if we look right in front of us here, we look at magazines. We're looking at the two magazines that we use from Sig, which is a 21 round magazine, which was utilized by the M17, M18 program, the standard 17 shot, and Elite Tactical Systems, which has made the translucent magazines, has made some excellent magazines as well. You have 17 shot, you have 21 shot, and you have a, I believe, 30 shot magazine. All which we've tested and all work beautifully. The magazines has definitely proven themselves to be reliable and durable. And I do think with the advent of the M17, M18 military pistols, you're going to start to see, I think, Sig probably taking over some of Glock's market share, if not wiping out most of Smith & Wesson's for as far as law enforcement contracts. One of the things that we do see when we have a new military pistol is many law enforcement agencies who don't have the ability or the professionals to do a complete weapons replacement program. They look at what the military has done, because obviously the military has spent millions and millions of dollars on testing, and they say, well, if it works for the U.S. military, what possibly could it do for us? And they adopt it. We saw that especially with the M9 pistol, the Bar 92F pistol, for as far as its popularity. So I think we're going to start seeing that. You're going to see more of these being sold for foreign military aid, for foreign military sales. And you're going to start seeing more and more countries adopting it as well because of it being the U.S. sidearm. So I think we're going to start seeing the P320 starting to move in a lot on Glock's territory. And the fact that it's continuing to evolve is something else I think is going to hurt Glock and several other companies, because the pistol does continue to evolve. But the one that we see here is a complete tactical pistol. Now, one of the neat things about the RXP full size is it comes with the Romeo 1 optic. As it comes from the factory, it comes with the pistol and the sight. Now, the only things that I had added to it, a threaded barrel, obviously the suppressor, and I also added to it the Foxtrot 1 LED tactical light. But we also notice that we have the straight trigger on here as well. So going over some of the specs on here, obviously 9x19 caliber. The sights, it has suppressor height sights on it, which it came that way because we do have the Romeo 1 on it. So we have tritium sights in here as well. Now initially it came with a 4.7-inch barrel with carbon steel nitron finish. And I had added the 5.5-inch barrel that was threaded, 1/2 by 28 threads, so it would take pretty much standard suppressors. Overall length 8 inches, width of 1.4 inches, height 6.4 inches, and a weight of 30 ounces. Now we have a solid steel slide on here with nitron finish. Now the trigger mechanism is striker fired. Now this is another one of the areas where I think Sig has definitely improved over Glock. Again, Glock being the the king of striker fired pistols. One other thing about Glock pistols is you do have that little tit in the middle. And that's one of their safeties. Now, when you fire a few magazines off, it doesn't bother you. But when you start firing hundreds and hundreds of rounds out of it, that little tit in the middle of your finger gets onto the pad of your finger, and it starts to hurt after a while. And that's one of the things the Sig does not have. It does not have that trigger safety on there. Now, depending on your thought, now some people would say, well, that's additional safety you don't have on the Sig. Well, as long as you have a holster that covers the trigger, that safety is pretty much irrelevant. The trigger is definitely on the P320's series nicer than that of the Glock, because you have a much lighter pull. You don't have that the fatigue on your finger from that little tit in the middle, and you also have some of the more of a match grade type feel of the trigger. And I have to say, I've never had any misfires due to the trigger mechanism either. Now, you do have a reversible magazine release on here as well. Now, this particular one is in black. They also do come in the flat dark earth if you so chose. You do have an ambidextrous magazine release on here. So we'll take a quick look at this thing, how it disassembles. Again, we have the 1/2 by 28 threads. Suppressor I've used on here is my Silencer Co. Octane 9. This happens to be one of my favorite sound suppressors that I use in 9mm. The suppressor Octane 9, it's 1.4 inches in diameter. It has a reduction to about 127 decibels. Now it's manufactured of stainless steel as well as aluminum. MSRP is about $629, and this is full auto rated for 9mm. Also, you can use a subsonic 300 blackout in this one as well. Again, subsonic, and it is full auto rated. Now we have the tactical light on here, which is the Foxtrot one. Now this has 3 different settings. It has 1, 2, and 300 lumen. It's an incredibly bright sight, LED. This is good for any kind of tactical application that you would ever have, especially as a home defense type gun. This will light up a room without any issue whatsoever. Uses CR123 batteries. Programmable output 1, 2, and 300 lumen. Magazines, again, this is the 21 round magazine, and we have the 17. Disassembly, check, make sure empty. Lock back to the rear. You have your Sig type disassembling latch release lever. Drop it down and release forward. Now, one of the nice things about the Sig P320 is you do not have to release the trigger or fire the trigger before you disassemble it. You have a flat recoil spring. And again, we have the barrel, 5.5 inch threaded, 1/2 by 28. Now this has a retail price of $199, and for anybody who's using a suppressor, this is absolutely necessary. Again, I shoot a lot of suppressed on it, so this is something I went out and bought. I'm not sure if you could buy this with this on it or not, but this is the original pistol barrel that came with it. Now you see the Romeo 1 Pro on here. You see our 123 battery, your adjustments. It does come with a tool for you to adjust your windage and elevation. Now looking at the slide, you're able to see the quality that you would expect out of Sig, precision machined, no tooling marks, very well made. As you can see, we have a firing pin safety on here as well as your striker, or loaded cartridge indicator. When this has a round in the chamber, the extractor sticks out, and you can run your finger across and you can feel the extractor. Now looking at the frame, we can see it rides on 4 rails. Now again, we do have the ability to remove and we have our removable chassis. Now, one of the things I do want to address on here is when we look at the XM17 program. This is not what made this pistol modular. This was not what made the Sig be adopted over the Glock. This was not a requirement for modularity. This was just a separate design feature of the pistol. So reassembly. Drop that back in. And now we're back together. Now, as you can see, this is the full-size grip. By dropping out your chassis, you can replace it with a shorter grip if you so chose. 1913 rail, as we can see a close-up of the Foxtrot 1. Ambidextrous features on here as well. Again, we have 100, 200, 300. So we can adjust it to whatever lumen we want. Reassembly. Drop the barrel back in. Insert our recoil spring. We lock the slide to the rear, drop it forward, back there. Now just assembly of the suppressor. There you have it. You have one hell of a tactical weapon here. You have everything that you would need for the suppressor, lighting, high capacity magazine, accuracy, tritium night sights. You really have every feature that you could possibly want on this pistol. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this to the range and we're going to see how it shoots both suppressed and unsuppressed. Well, now a single malfunction, we probably put well over 12 to 1,500 rounds through this pistol. The ammunition that we tested was all pretty much SIG ammunition, because one of the neatest thing about SIG is you can get SIG suppressors, SIG guns, and SIG ammunition. It's all one-shot stop. The ammunition that we tested first was the M17 V-Crown, which was 1,163 feet per second. The M17 124 grain full metal jacket plus P. It's a round I particularly like because it's an exact duplicate of the M882 ball cartridge, 124 grain bullet, 1,185 foot per second. Lead performance ball, 124 grain full metal jacket, 1,089 feet per second. And the most accurate round I've put out of this pistol was the Match Elite 147 grain V-Crown, 910 feet per second. Also worked extremely well with the sound suppressor. Elite Performance 124 grain V-Crown, jacket hollow point 1,068 feet per second. And as you can see from the group that we got, extremely exceptional. This basically you can perform surgery at 25 yards with it. It's taken me a little bit of time to get used to the optics on these. As I've gotten older, obviously my eyesight's not as good as it used to be. So it's really nice to have these red dots on here, and it really gives you that precision point of aim, point of impact. Now, the way this suppressor height sights on here, if that was to go out, you'd be able to use your iron sights. And regardless of what kind of a sound suppressor you have on here, because they're suppressor height sights, you'd be able to use those. Yeah, every type of ammunition that we've tested, jacket hollow points has worked reliably. So for as far as a combat gun, a 3-gun competition gun, or any type of a defense gun, this has got it all. Now, this could be a little bit overkill for as far as a home defense pistol. However, the sound suppressor certainly is nice for as far as being in a enclosed area. You have an excellent tactical light if you so chose. But again, having the optic on here gives you the ability to pinpoint your target, and it does really a good job. Now, again, we always wonder battery powered. So what happens if the battery goes out? Well, that's the nice thing about having the iron sights that you can co-witness, as well as having the tritium on there as well. So you have backup after backup. But SIG has done a lot of incredible things with the P320 series over the last couple years. They keep introducing more and more models. We're going to be seeing a video coming up that's going to be comparing this to a Glock Gen 5 MOS, which is basically going to be set up the same way with a optic. It's going to have suppressor sights. It'll have the same suppressor. It'll have a tactical light. The only difference is with the Glock is it's not going to be all Glock parts because Glock doesn't make sound suppressors. Glock doesn't make their own line of optics. They don't make their own sights, and it's a little bit different that way, but it'd be the same. It's the same type of a pistol, a full-size duty pistol that gives you suppressor, gives you a red dot, and gives you iron sights that co-witness, as well as having night sight capability. So that's something to look forward to. Future is going to be, you guys tend to always like we do one versus another. So you're going to see a upcoming one, SIG versus Glock. So I do hope you all enjoyed this video. If you do, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share, and please consider becoming part of our Patreon family. We are viewer funded. Thank you.